Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Hello, and welcome back to the Banhammer podcast with myself, Levi, and my good friend over here,
Mr. Hush. How is everyone?
doing good. I hope everyone at home or wherever you're listening, you're doing fine as well.
The swing returns as well.
We
had
does
some
return.
compliments on the music. We started with drum and bass, didn't we? But
We started with the drum and bass, but the swing, it's just got that sweet something about it.
yeah, and I'm going to try and keep it a little bit quieter. I think some people thought it was a little bit too loud.
So.
But yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Any other stuff? Just like let us know if you want us to change anything. Just give us a shout. But speaking on the topic of change and comments, thank you, Sebastian, for actually giving us some constructive criticism.
Yeah, that was proper constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Every episode he listened to.
Every single episode, and so definitely thanks for that. We'll take it into account as well.
He actually listened to every show, gave a fully consolidated set of feedback, including timestamps
and everything.
But
so.
yeah, cheers for that. Every little helps, and that's just how the show will evolve. When we started, it was just let's just try and get something together where we talk about
two guys like speaking about what we've done in the past, and hopefully we're going to go away from that.
So what can we expect in this show, Levi?
Well, we're going to talk more about the PlayStation and the PlayStation 4's upcoming titles, ones that haven't been released yet, and a lot of them were announced at the Paris Gaming Week, which was a few weeks back, actually. So we're going to be talking a lot about the PlayStation 4 titles, ones that haven't been released, obviously. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. But how's your week been?
My week, I've been quite busy actually. Unfortunately, I had a funeral to attend to. My granddad passed away. In fact,
sad times.
Yeah,
sad times.
I was going to say you've been to a funeral as well.
I've had a few funerals, which is why unfortunately the podcast has been delayed.
That's one of the other reason was I've joined the Army Reserve, so I've had a lot of time taken up basically training for that, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but we're going to keep
the
these shows going.
The podcast will stay. We are not leaving you.
Do you know what though, to be fair, we did
stay.
do another podcast for episode 5, but we're going to scrap that just because we wanted to try and focus on keeping more on track with topics and that. I think that I had to listen to the last one, and I think it was a bit all over the place.
We weren't that, so this is another take, and obviously this one's going to be so much better.
Yeah, we're just trying to tighten up wherever possible, and thanks to people like Sebastian that pointed that out.
Anyone else, even if it doesn't have to be a full set of paragraphs about what's wrong. If you just think the music's a tad loud, just drop a comment and tell us. These little things help a lot, and they help so much. Just drop a comment. Even if it's just
what about yourself? Have you done much
recently? Other than, unfortunately, myself, I've had a funeral to attend.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a grim time for both of us.
Yeah, it's been
your second one, isn't it?
It's my second one in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you're not the only one.
It was horrible, to be honest.
Yeah, it's quite. I don't know what's going on with death at the moment, but so many people I know, lots of people I know have had to attend funerals. So I don't know. There's
just
some curse going on.
Sad time. But anyway, let's leave the dark and gloomy business door and let's cheer ourselves up a bit.
The games, the PS4
the PlayStation 4 games, and I think the first one I want to talk about is definitely No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky,
which is quite interesting. It's definitely something new. It's something that's not really been done, and I don't know where to start with it. It looks almost Minecrafty, except the focus isn't building, it's more on
exploration,
discovering and exploration, because the world itself is generated.
It's procedurally generated.
It's procedurally generated, that's the word I was missing. And a lot of the things in the game are as well. Because the idea is you're on a ship and you can take your spaceship anywhere. You're discovering planets, you're discovering life forms, you're discovering new things on new planets, and everything is procedurally generated. I even think ships and weapons are to an extent. And the whole point of the game revolves around this element of discovery, from what I can gather. I don't actually think
what's
there's a
really
story
interesting?
to it.
A lot of the, I mean, I've been keeping a bit of keeping tabs on what's been going on, for quite a few months now. Not in depth, but just it did intrigue me. It's the actual sort of, I'll say enemies or animals on the planets that you get. They are actually procedurally generated, and they use some. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they've put together like some sort of gene system, which allows you to, like, what they'll have done. They'll created some kind of animal, for example, some kind of fictitious animal, but they'll come some kind of like they'll put some sort of gene system in, which means that if you change one little thing in the DNA, it actually changes the way it looks, and it's sort of procedurally generated, as in it changes and it evolves on its own. So you end up with a lot of variations, and I'm assuming they've probably done this with I think they've done this with plants and trees and stuff, so that you actually don't know what you're going to get. The outcome is actually genuinely different, and it's so they're not man-made. A lot of these things are not man-made. They're actually kind of just generated
and out there in the world,
using calculations.
So yeah, that, to be honest, the technology behind it baffles me at times, because even Minecraft, it's just this procedurally generated world which can continue going on, obviously up to a certain point. But the fact that everything, well, what is beginning to sound like everything in this game, No Man's Sky, is going to be procedurally generated, and the amount of variations of things that could exist. After hearing that, I'm not that worried about the content side, because I know a lot of the game is based on you make a discovery by, say, you find a new animal and you scan it.
Yeah, and it adds to a list.
And then you go to a beacon and you'll upload it. And when you upload it, if you're the first to discover it, you can name it.
Yeah, it's the same with planets as well. So, I mean...
sounds awesome.
There's someone I think it's the guy who does the Weeble cartoons. He's done a parody. You can type in... I don't know what he's called, but I think his channel is Weeble or something. If you can find his parody cartoon on No Man's Sky, it's hilarious. It's basically just taking the mick out of people who are blatantly gonna just abuse that system. I think it's based around like a documentary, a wildlife one where everything's serious, and it's like, here we are in the wild, and we've discovered this ancient aquatic creature, and then it's got some kind of dodgy, rude name, like someone's kind of abused it. But like, essentially, you're gonna get that. That's no doubt that's gonna happen. But it's quite interesting, and when you do something, it will be in that world, and someone else could come across and see it. The only thing is, the size of this place is beyond any scale that I've ever come across in any other game.
Can the console handle it?
No, it's the way it's again, I still don't understand it 100%, but it's kind of like it's generated. It's not there at all times. It's kind of generated as you go along, but the calculations are there, but it's like the whole world isn't stored on your computer as one big world. It's kind of like I think it's a bit like, say if you're looking, and again this is kind of a bit technical, people are not into it, but how a vector is for artwork, like how a vector can be used to make a huge picture, but it's just calculating the points that make up that image. It's not actually containing the data of the image, but you can be used to call upon an image whenever. MIDI for audio is similar. It's a small amount of data, but you can make some really complicated music, orchestral piece, but it's just using data. So it's the same sort of thing, and it's and there is an objective in the game. Right, this is one thing I wanted to talk about. That is, you can go around the game. It's had mixed opinions. People are not sure what's going to happen with this. The main thing is, the size of it is something like 17 quintillion planets or something like that. You're talking off the scale. It's like several scales higher than a billion, and then like trillion, septillion.
They're making new words.
So you're talking like absolutely crazy vast number of planets, and they're even like done in a realistic way that sort of, if you've got some that are closer to a sun, for example, that they will behave and look like you would expect them, and the colour of the planets, they're not just, you've got a red one, a green one, a blue one, they're all sort of done in accordance with the laws of physics and nature, so it adds more realistic. But people worry that that there's not going to be enough to do, or there's going to be a lots of endless spaces of nothing, essentially.
Oh, like how we have like the Pacific Ocean is just water.
Yeah, it's like nothing really to do. I got that with I don't know if you ever played Second Life, but
no, I haven't, unfortunately.
When I first saw it, I thought it was amazing because of the size of it. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it looked, and for this reason I'm going to mention, but it was big. The size of it is huge, and there's loads of like intricate details, lots of buildings that you can buy land on it and buy buildings and that sort of thing. And I'm sure there are a lot of games and things to do, but it's kind of like there's not a lot in there for you to do.
Yeah.
No, there is. That's kind of like, a lot of people say, oh, sure.
My worry with No Man's Sky is that the content is going to be solely based around discovery and exploration, when there is obviously other things that could be done in the game. Like when I was watching the trailer, there was a part where you're flying a ship throughout space, and two ships fly by and they're shooting at each other. So is it not possible to create like some dogfighting element where you're just fighting in ships or anything like that?
And this is it. If you're talking about the size of it, right, you're going to realise that like what's obvious is that somebody's not sat down and created a script for this planet and a script for that planet. It's impossible. So you're going to end up with a lot of that, and that's what people are bothered about. It's like after you've got your fix of all this amazing looking universe or galaxy. I think it's based in a galaxy. You're just going to be going places, and it's going to feel like it's not got that human element or that realistic element that's been set up. So you've got certain unique experiences. It's going to people are worried that they're just going to be endlessly traveling, and it's going to feel sort of samey in a way, and there's not going to be enough depth to it.
I think that's what happened with Space Engineers.
It's like when you play Fallout, for example, that will start out, it's huge, but it's not huge on this scale, but it's huge on a scale that was manageable by a team who could then create lots of little storylines. This is so big that you're not going to get to a planet and then, you're talking quintillions, so you're not going to just randomly find like sort of a little colony of people and they've got their own story going on. It's not that kind of game.
No, so you're just going to find... I don't know what.
There are a lot of things, like obviously you can scan planets, and there's got to be more than that. I think what I've heard, there's also there are like space police in there. If you
there's a wanted system.
Yeah, like GTA, if you cause too much
trouble
on a certain planet, then you start going up the scale of being wanted, and to the point where you start getting chased off the planet, and then they can chase you into space. Oh, another unique thing that's a first for this. It's the first game that you can actually physically land on a planet or leave the planet into space, and it's seamless. There's no loading.
There's no
transition. It's all real time, and it happens every then.
So loading
it is
happens
quite
in the
impressive.
background.
It is impressive. And you can get chased into space, and you've got fleets in space and that. And there's an element of selling and buying and selling things.
Yeah, I've heard there's like trading posts.
And it's kind of open how you can play it. I don't know enough about all the different elements of it, but I did watch a podcast once where some guy had played it, and he was in a room with a few others. I can't remember which podcast it was, but they were sort of skeptical and a bit wary about how much it was going to offer before you get bored. The guy who actually got a chance to play it, he was optimistic. He thought it was promising, and after he learned a bit more about it firsthand, that it could essentially build up. And also, you got to realise, like same with Minecraft, over time they may add more and more things on there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They might have certain specific places to go to that have more missions. So if you want to develop some kind of mission, you could actually go to a specific spot. I mean, obviously you're probably going to be able to teleport places or something like that. That's probably going to be able to happen. But there is an ultimate goal, a bit like there is one in Minecraft,
with the Ender Dragon and all that.
Ender Dragon, and I didn't even know about that until pretty much you told me.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
But yeah, the ultimate goal, and you never even have to do that in No Man's Sky, but is to get to the centre of the galaxy. But I think you've got to build up, and this might be the interesting part, I think you've got to build up your ship or something to be able to travel closer to the centre. And it might take a long time, but as you build up and you get more enhanced
Equipment, yeah.
you can then move further closer to the center faster, and then things start changing. Then you're in another colony, another area, another new planets, new entire systems, and that. And it's not the same as well. It's not like you start going in, it's a repeat. You start getting new things and new things. So I think they're trying to keep it so it's a fresh experience. So once you've got used to where you are, you can move closer.
You can move
to the
like
center,
closer, yeah.
And there's going to be change, so it'll keep it interesting. But
So
that's one
definitely a form
that I
of
find
change.
interesting, and I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember reading that it was going to be around the $20 mark. Now
so it's definitely not
so
going to have
if
the
it's-
AAA price tag of like
so
60,
which is another interesting
$60,
part. Yeah,
£50.
and this was mentioned before Paris Gaming Week, but we have a release date, and there's still a bit of time before it's going to be released. It's still, well, we're talking just over 7 months or something. It's coming out in June next year, 2016.
So June, that's
Yeah,
like Q3, and then.
something like that.
So yeah, definitely we got a lot of time, and they could announce more things before they even release the game. So
That is something that I'm interested in getting. Possibly when it gets released. Usually I tend to wait a lot and get some of like the older stuff, but I've been quite intrigued about this.
It looks like a very fun game for those who were into the Minecraft. They were into their sandboxy stuff, but also those who like to delve into
Exploration more than anything.
exploration
Yeah,
and like the people who like look at codexes on RPGs and stuff like that. The people who like delve into the universe of a game itself
the atmosphere.
and the atmosphere of it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
as well graphically, it's quite amazing. It's interesting.
beautiful.
It's very colourful,
Yeah, it
really
looks
colourful.
almost cartoony, but not in a way. Like it's blocky and cartoony, but done in a way that's not too blocky, like all
Stands out.
Minecraft is just all blocks. That actually has an element of roundness to it as
Yeah.
well. So definitely, well, that's No Man's Sky, and if it floats your boat, definitely check it out. It looks like it's going to be a great game anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I won't. I mean, at the moment, there's other games that stand out, and one of them has to be Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's the next one on the list.
That game it looks beautiful, it looks so interesting, and it's based with an RPG, and it actually has a story. It reminded me of games like Skyrim and things like that, but blended with the sci-fi.
You know the colour scheme on that? I mean, it's been a few weeks since I actually watched the video for that. I didn't get a chance before this recording, but I'm sure it's got like a similar colour scheme to No Man's Sky, like, you know, like all purples, and it looks like a big. It looks, from what I remember, it was a big open world game, set in sort of the hills, the countryside, and you're a female warrior, like a bit like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, but with a more tribal influence to it.
And maybe a cross between sort of Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed, where you with more Assassin's Creed sort of movement, and you're taking down. They're not actually animals. They
machines,
seem
right?
to be machines, yeah. Which is so it looks very organic and natural environment, but the colour schemes seem to be quite a little bit out there compared to most games like this. Like
it's something different,
like purples
definitely.
and reds and all kinds of colours, oranges. But it makes it stand out a bit. And all the animals were based on robots, so you'd have like dinosaurs. It seemed to be the theme.
Yeah, dinosaurs were definitely the theme.
But
in that
it looks like almost like Lego dinosaurs running around. But it does. When I say that, it's not like a kid's game. It's like it's quite, or a family type game. It looks quite of a mature game.
It looks very immersive. The first thing I thought was when I was watching, I think it was like a demo where one of the developers played the game. That was at Paris Games Week actually. It looks beautiful. It looks so immersive. It looked like something I could willingly get lost in. Just because I've never seen this done before, where you have this futuristic feel, but almost like a reverse in technology, where not in technology as in actual equipment, as in like socially, we've reversed. We're still tribes, because I know that was one of the things that they wanted to get across in that game, is that you're helping like these tribes out.
Yeah, so it's like it's gone into the future, but yet we've kind of
But
gone backwards.
socially we've regressed.
Regressed back into a tribal nature, but the futuristic technology is still
there, definitely,
and it's become. Their twist on it is that instead of being your typical futuristic robots, that they are futuristic robots, but they are based on
animals themselves,
animals, dinosaurs.
Yeah, and the AI does have like a herding kind of AI. If you say you have like a group of these mechanical animals that look like deer, and you shoot one, and you spook them, they will stampede. They will start running away and start stampeding. Definitely.
Yeah, I'd seen that. There were a few interesting takedowns or ways of taking down the enemies. Like there was one I remember. I don't know if they were based on velociraptors or something like that, but or they were a more docile creature.
Yeah.
But to take them down, she had to. Well, this is one idea of many. She has some kind of like bow and arrow, and you could create a trap system, sort of tripwire. I think linked to bombs. You could create like sort of if you go up to them, they'll run away.
Oh yeah, I remember watching this.
So the guy who was doing the demo sort of created a bunch of tripwires at a certain point. So like about 10 tripwires, and then I don't know if he threw something or he just.
I think he shot an explosive in the
he
other
shot an
area
explosion on the opposite side, which spooks them, so they run away from that. But of course, they run right into the traps, and then they all sort of explode and die. And there was another one with like a big T-Rex character, but it has like a lot of different features about it. And there was
it's like the big boss, wasn't it?
Yeah, to take it down, it's not simple.
It.
It's not like you just shoot it a few times and and it's dead.
It's not like you could just like constantly shoot it in the same place.
Yeah,
I know
you had to do it as tactically, and what he did.
Interesting idea on how to kill it.
Like one example, that particular enemy, he shot. There's like a huge turret.
Like a mounted turret on it.
Yeah.
Like
which you can shoot down initially,
things.
But then you pick up the turret when it falls on the floor. You then pick up the turret and fire it at its own armor, and that's how you take it down because you don't have anything to attack the armor, but you use its own weapon against it. So it's got a tactical approach.
Also, I think that game really does appreciate the hunter's mindset because I do know that the main weapons in that game are a bow and arrow, and the thing called the bolt caster, which is what shoots the tripwires.
Oh right, so you remember the name?
Yeah, that shoots. I'm sure it was called the bolt caster, and basically that shoots the tripwires. And also they have these things like almost like brushes in League of Legends. If you ever played that game, where you walk into the bush, you become like in a stealth sort of mode, and then if there is a unfortunate mechanical creature on its way that you need to kill, you can stealth takedown from out the bush. Like, say if you're in like melee range, you can do a stealth takedown on the creature for like even more damage, or maybe even be a one-hit kill.
Yeah.
And I think it does reward the mindset of you've got to plan out your kill, so to speak. And just because of that mindset and the fact that the archery is there, that it's going to be a must-buy for me. Already, I'm sold.
You know what? I'm actually, funny enough, it reminds me a little bit of, but to be honest, I prefer this more. It looks more interesting, but it reminds me of the game that I'm currently playing, and that's Assassin's Creed 3.
Assassin's Creed?
That has a hunting element to it. It's changed it completely.
I didn't play that one, so I wouldn't know.
Talk about this game too much, but it's got a hunting element, which it was a major change for this franchise at that point. But you've got to think about how to take down it. Like you said, the animals, but like you said, they've got a herd nature.
Yeah.
You do get some like elk or little foxes and badgers, and some are easier to chase after than others, but they'll run away from you.
Yeah.
You've got different ways. You've got like the bow and arrow. You can shoot them, or you can set up little traps. It's got a similar.
Pretty awesome.
It does,
got like that similar nature
and
to
it's
it.
got the whole countryside aspect.
I know that.
It's really cool.
Back on Horizon Zero Dawn, you can gather, and I think that's a way of getting your health back is by gathering these certain plants and using them. And hopefully as well, it does have a crafting system. I'm pretty sure it does. Don't quote me on this, but if it does, then definitely I'll be throwing my money at that game.
I think it is essentially an RPG, so it's more than likely going to have leveling systems, and no doubt it's going to have. I mean, this day and age, all games like that tend to have crafting elements to them. It's just a common thing.
They announced it would be an RPG in the weirdest way. If I remember correctly, when I was watching the game, they did the stealth takedown, and obviously as you did the stealth takedown, a number floated up, and that was the floating combat text of the damage. And he's like, that was that was something we called the floating combat text, and it shows damage. And it was like, it was the weirdest way of announcing a game was ever an RPG, because playing a lot of RPGs, you become accustomed to seeing the numbers and how much damage you're dealing, whether it's an MMO, whether it's a single player RPG, JRPG, or Western. You become accustomed to it, and it was a weird feeling.
Than talking about the crafting or the leveling up, it was the fact that this is how you know it's an RPG.
Text.
If you look carefully when you fight, you'll
see the numbers.
You'll see a tiny number appear.
That will tell you.
That's how
everything.
you know it's an RPG.
To be honest, I didn't mind it so much as that every game these days has a leveling system, and some people seem to bunch. Oh, it's got a leveling system. It must be an RPG.
I've thought of this recently.
It's a terrible way of thinking, because going by that line of thinking, every Call of Duty since 4 is an RPG in multiplayer just because there's a leveling system. It's an FPS with a leveling system. It's not an RPG.
I think there's a lot of...
There's a difference.
Sometimes things merge and...
Lines blur, definitely.
Yeah, lines blur, because for me, traditionally, an RPG... and I know they weren't exclusively about... I was going to say about storyline is the bit I was going to mention, but I always liked them for the storyline, but they obviously not all RPGs are about storyline. About grinding. So there's grinding... And the storyline
that takes me back to Korean RPGs. They were very grindy, but definitely.
But essentially, it does look like RPG based.
I think this game has the potential to be like almost Bethesda-like, almost have like that kind of finish to it, like a polished finish to it.
It depends what else is in it. It depends what else is in it, because there's no sort of. There's nothing outside of that. All we've seen is some of the actual action scenes, which is a good thing, because
he touched on a bit of the storyline. From what I gathered from watching it, he was the character you're playing as the female. I can't remember her name. She was hunting these creatures, and they had these like tanks on their back with green liquid in, and you was collecting them tanks for a tribe.
Right.
And I think it was because of something to do with a rival tribe. And maybe there's going to be like some tribe warfare going on in there, as well as the machines.
Yeah.
So maybe that might be part of the story, maybe not.
But I'd say it's one to look out for, and it was genuinely, out of all the games, that's one that stood out to me.
Oh, that was the one.
And I know you actually, when you saw it, you kind of made a point about that. In fact, when you went through the list of games, that's the one you mentioned to me. So I thought, well, it mustn't just be me then. That's
Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's Horizon Zero Dawn. So moving down the list,
Street Fighter is where we're going. Street Fighter 5 now.
That got name dropped at the.
It wasn't as much as an announcement as it was a name drop, just because people have known it's been coming for a long time. It's been available for pre-order for a long time as well. I think the main thing was announcing characters after the first year of release. They're saying they're going to be releasing 6 characters, I think, after the first year of release. Yeah. Instead of what I think was Street Fighter's way of doing it. It wasn't Street Fighter 4, is that they did revisions of the actual games, where you had Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Which is a bit of a silly way of doing things, really.
It's the way Guilty Gear does things as well.
Yeah, they want to do that and they'll make more money, because they're just rehashing the same game with a few tweaks. You're paying
40 quid a go.
Yeah, unless you leave it and then
you're paying 20 quid a go.
Yeah.
it's still a lot of money to be spending on games, because I won't be buying the next Guilty Gear. I know Guilty Gear are going to do that with Xrd Sign, and I think that's going to be called Xrd Revelation. And it's like, I think Mortal Kombat was the usherer of that system. Why don't you just, instead of rehashing games, just add the characters as DLC, instead of just rehashing games constantly and then just balance tweak through patching? But maybe not. So
speaking of the characters as well, so they did release an image with 6 silhouettes of the characters.
Yeah, they did.
And no one knows who they are going to be yet. We spent a
few minutes looking at it. I mean,
when was it? Yesterday?
The other day,
we were looking at it yesterday and trying to see if we could work out who was in there.
The one on the far left, to me, it looked like Balrog. It had to be Balrog.
You mean, the second to left was the one that looked like Balrog.
Was the one who
definitely
looked
like he had
like
boxing
a boxer.
glove.
Yeah. He had that kind of wicked gleam in his eye that Balrog.
There's another one as well that
has.
could be Vega.
Vega, yeah,
He's
because
holding his hand up, but there's like a little bit of hair coming down and
standard Vega look.
yeah.
Bit too vain. But yeah, definitely. For all we know, these may just be brand new characters. Because I know for a fact, I don't know for a fact, but I don't think Blanca is returning because they have announced a character who plays quite similar to Blanca, and I have seen gameplay of it. So
I think
maybe characters won't be returning, but they'll be returning like almost in a spiritual successor.
Right. I think they will. I think at least like a couple of characters there will be return characters.
Definitely.
Because
I know
it's
Cammy's
all the
coming
hype,
back.
isn't it?
Cammy's definitely coming back.
But if they were all new characters, about all right, that's interesting, fair enough. But just by mixing some of the old school ones in there, it's like, oh, I've not seen that character for a while. You know,
Yeah.
I was wondering if Zangief,
If the Zangief returns,
was
a lot of
actually
people
in there. I was looking. There was
will
one
be
where
happy.
he's holding his hands up.
Yeah,
in
like
the
the
air.
Street Fighter 2
Yeah,
pose.
he does. He has a finisher in Street Fighter 2 where his hands are right in the air, you know, when he finishes. And there's a guy that's sort of doing a similar sort of pose, but you can't really see the character enough. And I may be wrong, far off, but
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I've really played
like Street Fighter. If El Fuerte returns, please just drop the damage of his EX quesadilla bomb a little bit, please. I don't want to have to play against that online with bad latency. It's just nasty. Don't do that to me.
One thing I wanted to mention about the characters on that, one thing I do know is any of the unlockable characters, you are able to unlock all the characters without actually having to pay DLC. You get an in-game currency, and the more you play the game, the more you accrue this currency, and you can unlock them, and then make sure that you don't have to buy them.
See, that is... I know that's been used in Guilty Gear, except it was only for one character, and he was Sin Kisuke, Kai's son. And it was like £6 in the store, or 100,000 of these world dollars, which you had to accrue by either completing the arcade mode with a different character every time was the fastest way of doing it, or just through playing the game constantly.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of the characters you can't do that, or they'll let you do it, but you have to like...
It'd be grindy as hell.
Yeah, really grindy or ultra difficult, so difficult that you pretty much have to give in and just pay.
Just give me my DiCaprio back.
Yeah, and we've got a release date for that. That's coming out
February
officially
next year.
in February the 16th next year.
I know what I'll be doing in
Are you actually getting
February
that?
the 16th.
Are you getting...
Yeah, I'll be pre-ordering that. I didn't pre-order it for the beta because I know I didn't have the money at the time, and I know a lot of people struggled with getting the beta. I know Gutex did play it, and he was just when I saw him on streaming, he was just training room, practicing, obviously spacing on Ryu.
What we'll have to do... Well, one thing we're thinking about doing in the future is getting some
sort of recording software.
Let's plays, casual let's plays with us both together in a room, just chatting, probably having a drink, bit of munch, and playing some sort of co-op games.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to add a bit more interest in the channel, so it's not just purely
podcast after podcast.
Yeah,
after podcast. But
and
definitely,
I wouldn't mind playing some beat 'em ups. You can kind of like teach me a bit on that. I did play a bit of Street Fighter X Tekken.
Street Fighter X Tekken. I never
about
played
a week
that.
ago.
I played SF. I played Ultra SF4. Third Strike I played like when I was a kid. I didn't even know how to Hadouken when I played Third Strike. It was actually on a cabinet. I can't even remember where. I know I was out, and I think it was with an uncle of mine.
Yeah.
And I played it on a cabinet. And it just sucked. I just sucked at it.
We barely played many of the actual game on Street Fighter stuff when it was a friend of mine that's
I'm pretty sure it was Third Strike on a cabinet. I can't remember.
Yeah, we played a lot of the sort of tutorials, but it seemed like there were so many features in that. But again, they're all different. But we'll move on.
We'll definitely do something like that at some point. But I know the next topic is definitely
one that I've not really got a lot to talk about in this one, but I'm just name dropping it because it got mentioned. It had a very impressive CGI trailer,
but it had no gameplay.
But this is not representative of the actual game itself. It's called Matterfall, and I don't think I've got the name of the company making it.
I don't know, but it was the same makers as Resogun, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I asked you whether you knew you'd heard of this, and you said you didn't know much about it.
I've not played Resogun.
It was a launch title on the PS4 when it first got released. It was like a side-on shooter.
Yeah.
I think I've forgotten the game. It's Defender, I think it is, where you're a ship, you can move left and right. Kind of similar to that, but obviously a modern version. And they basically taking advantage of all the extra bangs and whistles that the system can do. So many explosions, particle madness.
Yeah, particle effects.
And that's one thing you're getting in this new age of the generation
of consoles is just
which
more
generation
bang.
Are we in? We're in like
the eighth. Well, the 7th was the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox,
yeah,
so definitely we're on the 8th.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So and then there's another one as well. They've done
don't know
that,
what to think about it.
and they've done another game, but they are much more on an indie level. The CGI trailer looks like something you'd expect to see from like almost like Metal Gear Solid or Crysis. Or
a triple
like
A.
that,
But the thing is that the problem I had with this trailer is that it looked awesome, and the first thing that came to my head is, right, ability to manipulate matter. Does that mean you can build stuff? Does that mean you can destroy things? But the thing is that I had nothing to go off from the actual game because no one knows. Well, I don't know if we know now because I've not seen anything more recent, but at the time I didn't know what the game was about. All I know at the moment is it's possibly an action shooter.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
It's possibly an action shooter. It's not going to be an FPS. I don't think it'll be an FPS, but even so,
it's very unlikely.
I'll have to look into it furthermore because if it's anything like a bullet hell, I'm there.
But it was funny because it tricked you because when I told you about this, to check the list, you saw that game, you were like, that really interests me.
Wow, it could be so much.
But I already knew that game was not going to be the way it looked.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that came to mind when I saw it was Starhawk, which was on the PlayStation 3. I don't know if it was on Xbox, and that had I can't remember what it was called. I call it a build and play system, and basically on the multiplayer of it, it was a third-person shooter, and each character had a resource which you could pick up from drops around the map. And with these resources, you could build like buildings, you could build towers like a sniper tower, walls for your base, you could build more reactors to generate more of these resources, and you could build like vehicle depots and weapons depots, and you would want to build into this thing called a Hawk. And it was a mech that you got into and you walked around into, and you could jump in it and you could transform into like a Starhawk, which was the fighter jet version of it. And it was a hell of a lot of fun. I played it in the beta a lot more than I did when I got the game. It kind of died. I hope it's still going. I've not had a chance to play it. But I was thinking something along like, if it was anything like that, if Matterfall was anything like Starhawk, I was there. But it doesn't seem like it will be, so unfortunately my interest has peaked and is now slowly dropping in that game, so hopefully they will show me something that will get it back up there.
So next in the list is another, this is quite a left field game. This is a bit different, bit arty, which is something I like about Sony in general.
More creative.
Sony love the artistic stuff, and I'm always been a big fan of that. You know, your games like Journey.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, all that kind of stuff.
Shadows of the Colossus.
Amazing games. This isn't like those, but this is another kind of strange game, and it's by the makers of
Little Big Planet, isn't it?
Yeah, Little Big Planet. Yeah.
On the PlayStation 3.
I always get that mixed up with Little Big Adventure, which is an old game. You probably don't even know what that is.
No, that completely went over my head.
Yeah, there's another game called Little Big Adventure on
Little
the PC.
Big Planet, which was on PlayStation 3, and you played as a character called Sackboy.
Yeah, but
created levels and did random stuff in it.
And that was that's the point. The link between that and this is you can create your own levels and your own games. Pretty much. It's a
game called Dreams, and I think
it's called Dreams. Yeah.
I think the concept was to share your dream in a way. It's a game called Dreams that was designed to help you share your dreams by expressing that creation that your subconscious has when you're sleeping. Yeah. I think that was the gist
and every
of
single
the thing.
dream is different in some way, but the graphics are actually really impressive. They look very, very like Pixar movie.
Yeah, it does.
Very like it.
It also reminded me of Broken Age went 3D. I don't know why it did, but it did remind me of like Broken Age went 3D.
I think in the game, I don't know 100%, but I think there is an actual game in there where you can play it. You can,
Yeah, there's got to be
progress,
something there.
Try working out puzzles, that sort of thing.
Just because
it's
not everyone's
hard to
going to be
explain 'cause
creative.
It's so wacky. Like you might be controlling sort of a rabbit with a giant head, through some kind of strange magical looking castle, opening drawers.
Yeah,
and,
like the main
all
character
kinds
you
of
play
weird
as
stuff.
is an imp, and that imp then goes and possesses these AI controlled characters, and you control them. I think that was the concept of
you
it.
use the 6-axis controller as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of motion control in it.
Yeah, you use the analog sticks to move as normal, but it combines that with the 6-axis, which I'm not sure if that's improved on the PS4 to PS3, but yeah.
But yeah,
you can. The interesting bit I saw is that you can actually create your own levels, and there's an element of creativity where you can literally like hack into the props around that you can create and actually create. So you could create like a Mario Kart type game or whatever. I don't know how this works. I don't know how.
They did say you could create like different genres of games within this game.
Yeah, but it's how you do that because creating a game's got more than just its aesthetics, it's the physics and everything. But they must have a lot of things that are preset in there. But again, that's that. We'll carry on because we kind of run out of time. Next one
is Gran Turismo.
I'm just name dropping this because I'm not really. It's not my sort of game.
Not a fan. I played 2 on PlayStation, but that was it.
But I wanted to mention it because it's a new one that's coming out, and I don't think there has been one for a while, and it's going to be one of the games that's going to take advantage of the virtual reality system.
So you can use the PlayStation VR.
And that
that's what they're calling it now.
The next game in the Gran Turismo series, but it's going to be called Gran Turismo Sports. I think was the last one Gran Turismo 6 or something, or
I think it was.
Is this like Gran Turismo 7 technically?
I only remember Gran Turismo for a song that was in Gran Turismo 2. I can't. It's evading me, and it was. I don't know. That's the only reason I actually remember Gran Turismo was one of the songs in it. That's what stood out to me as a kid. And it always seemed a lot like more simulation than racing.
Yeah, that's why I've never been. I've never been
I
think I mentioned it in a show before. Simulation in general is not really something that interests me.
That's what life's for. But don't get me wrong, I understand if you like it, but I really couldn't play something like Euro Truck Simulator 2015.
I was thinking of Euro Truck. I was actually, yeah.
I'd just go and do a HGV driving test, and if I got past it, then I could do that for a living, but preferably no. Anyway.
I've got a client who comes to the studio, and believe it or not, he's bought Euro Truck Simulator.
I've got a few friends who've bought it, and I'm still questioning their sanity to this day.
Yeah.
But that was Gran Turismo. I think Detroit was mentioned at Paris Games Week, and that game was wow.
This is the next one.
It looks bloody stunning. I must say, it looks.
I like not mentioning the title. I like sort of kind of building a picture.
Build a picture.
But yeah, you've already spoiled it. So
anyway. Damn it. Oh,
yeah.
well.
So the next game in the list is an interesting one. It's the third game in. Well, it's not a connected series. They're different games, but it's the third game that was made by the makers of Heavy Rain
Beyond Two Souls.
And Beyond Two Souls that came out not too long ago. They are more sort of adventure type games, like interactive.
They're very
story-driven adventure.
Definitely story-rich games.
Yeah.
It's not just like, hey, action, kill things, yeah, go.
I've been meaning to play these for a while, but what I find the problem with a lot of these games now, they take me so long to go through. I just never get a chance to go through
60 hours in one, 60 hours in another. I know I've got Darksiders is still sat there along with Saints Row 4, and I've just picked up StarCraft as well. I struggle with it, but Detroit is a game that it's up there with something like Horizon. I want to spend time just because it looks stunning.
Completely different experience.
It looks stunning, and the storyline, which I think is based on an android gaining self-awareness and becoming alive, so to speak, and she wants to feel. It's just. It reminds me of Deus Ex, but instead of it being like implants, it's actual androids.
It's an android with, it's pretty much a robot.
It's just a robot
with AI that's
who
built
looks
into,
human. Yeah.
Built in a factory. Now, how this started originally, I thought it was only a couple of years ago, but I briefly checked the trailer earlier on, to just check up on something on the game, and they mentioned 2011. I didn't realise it was that long ago, but there was a tech demo made by Quantic. Is it Quantic Dream? They're the guys who made this, and they made this sort of really impressive looking CGI cinematic video of, I think she's called Kara or something like that.
Yeah, the main android's called Kara,
and it's her getting built, and she's sort of being spoken to and asked questions from a guy in some room facing her. And she's just been built a bit like a car would get built, in a Volkswagen.
Like arms getting attached, boom, get them on, and give her some legs, and seal it and ship it out. That's the kind of feel.
She's basically just getting built like
manufactured,
a car in a Volkswagen factory, yeah. So, and she starts questioning her own reality, and is she alive? Is she not? What is she? That's what the game's about. But it's not about what they say. It's not about trying to invent new futuristic gizmos and gadgets and things, and focus on the sci-fi element. It's trying to focus more on our world as it is now and the reality of it. But so it's probably more an emotional journey that puts a robot
into our life
who looks as like fully human, but and puts you on a journey of how that robot will experience integrating with humanity. And I can imagine there's a lot of areas they can explore.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was watching a trailer before, and there was part where she was just walking down the street, and she looked, and there was a protest, like an anti-android protest going on, and there was a guy screaming at this android. And another thing I noticed was that she's an android, but she looks and dresses human. But it got to the point where in the trains they have a human part and an android only part, and the android only part was tiny, and they all walked in single file, looked forward, and that was it. And they turned up, like they didn't shut down, but they idled. Whereas humans, you went to she went on the human part, and they all turned and looked at her, and there was stuff going on. And maybe it's that distance between what's android and what's human, and the whole anti-android and for android. And maybe if that argument becomes part of the game, wow.
It's the separation of what makes human, and what makes android. Android. And there's that kind of separation, and it's kind of that freakish point where a robot becomes so human
you can't distinguish it anymore.
You can't distinguish it, but it's the subtle differences that actually freak us out. I remember reading something once about there's a point where what makes things creepy. I think it was a Vsauce, and he said once something becomes close to human but not quite, that's when it gets its creepiest, because you kind of know.
It's not what it looks like.
Android, it's really human, but it's the little things. I remember have you seen AI, the film, is it Stanley Kubrick film or Steven Spielberg or something?
I don't know. I have a film ready to watch actually called Her, which is Scarlett Johansson, which is about a guy and an AI. I have another one about an AI, which is that one called AI, and it's about, I don't know what it's about. It was just on Sky, and I was like, sounds interesting. I'd
recommend watching AI. If you've never seen it,
AI.
I've forgotten what it's called, but
at the moment I'm on an Ocean's binge, so I'll have to be after them. But anyway, back to Detroit. The other thing with the game is that they actually have an actor.
I was just about to say that.
Well, an actress for the main character, don't they?
They don't use actress anymore. It's I think it's redundant now. I think they're all actors now.
What the hell?
Political correctness.
Do forgive me if this does offend you, but actor and actress, fireman and firewoman, I don't care, whatever. Actor. Yeah, if you're an actor, you're an actor.
Correctness gone mad. So yeah, I'm not 100% certain, but I think the girl Kara is sort of cast by I'm trying to remember her name now.
Ellen Page.
Ellen Page, that's it.
She was in the other games, wasn't she?
Yeah, I know she is in Beyond Two Souls. I don't think she's in Heavy Rain. I don't think they did it, got her involved in, but I know they got her in Beyond Two Souls. And uncannily, she also looks like the character in The Last of Us. I always thought they looked similar.
Ellie, the kid.
Is she called Ellie?
The kid Ellie.
Right, that makes it even more confusing. So Ellen Page looks like
Ellie.
Ellen Page, who acts in Beyond Two Souls, looks like the girl from The Last of Us, who's also called Ellie. Right, that's really confusing. I always thought they looked...
I've not actually finished that game yet. I downloaded
you played it.
When I bought my PS4, it was actually, you got it, code, download it, and it got to the point where I was playing it stupid hours in the morning with all the lights off, and all I could hear was like this. It sucked.
I'm gonna start creating these T signs with my hands now. This means tangent. It's when we're going off on a tangent away from the subject. Yeah, I'm gonna use this like not timeout but tangent.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try and start that, but definitely. But
so so it's this one. I'm pretty certain the role has been acted out by Ellen Page, and the interesting thing is she actually physically acts it out with all the kit on her, you know. But
like the ping pong ball suit
to make it look as realistic as possible. I don't know if they've improved on that and made it so you don't need all that, but
still looks like a ping pong ball suit.
Yeah, but it does look quite interesting, you know.
Yeah, the game.
I've yet to play Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain before I even.
The backlog's too big, but Detroit is definitely a game I would say is worth looking at.
So moving down, the next one in the list is
the Uncharted 4.
Yeah, you mentioned it again. I was gonna set the scene and say the title later.
With this, I think you can't really I can't set a scene for it because Uncharted. You say Uncharted or you even describe it, and I think Tomb Raider, but it's not Tomb Raider because it's a guy. That's the first thing that comes in when I played 1, 2,
I know
and
it's
3.
a guy, but it's still like you could say it's like Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's, it's all about Lara Croft, but it's got that kind of feel.
Uncharted 4. All I know about this is that they just showed multiplayer gameplay. They didn't actually show single player gameplay. From what I saw, anyway.
Forgive my ignorance, but is Uncharted 4 already out? Is that something you can buy now? Right, because I wasn't sure if the game was out. They released
the Nathan Drake collection, who's the main character, Nathan Drake.
I've seen that.
And that's just 1 through 3. Don't quote me on this. That was re-released or remastered. I don't know what it was, but they put it on PS4.
Right, I wasn't sure if the game had been released yet. Because this was just an announcement for the multiplayer.
Yeah, it had some wacky stuff in. It had some pretty wacky stuff in. Like, I know the thing that appealed to me most was the supposedly seamless free running, which wasn't that seamless, but it was there. The idea of like you could free run and then you could kill someone and you'd be off. It reminded me a lot of Brink.
It was very fast paced. It did look a bit sort of like, I don't know, almost cartoony at times. I think that's the way that the camera sped up and slowed down, in a way, you know, you got that fast-paced nature of a Pixar movie when say someone's running and it's all intricately sort of set up in such a way that it kind of moves like
motion blur,
not realistic but like faster than normal pace. It kind of had that feel to it, you know, when someone had run to I don't know, say a little brick wall and jump over it and then duck under something. It'd be all happen really, really quickly. Whether that was like because it was it was like done as a CGI video. Yeah, I mean, I know it's supposed to be in game.
It was like part of it was gameplay, and they popped it into like a CGI thing, and then popped it back into gameplay. Like they did a blend.
But what I mean, these days it's all about trying to merge that CGI and in-game graphics and. You kind of you get
Battlefront.
Yeah. It's the kind of I've noticed the gaps getting closer and closer, and you are getting that.
I think that was my issue with Battlefront. And it's why I don't want it ever to happen. Is because it played too much like a film.
It was actually The Last of Us that started that. Really, like one of the ones that everybody who played it pretty much made a big song and dance about the fact that it really feels like a movie, like you're playing a cutscene at times, and I know like Tomb Raider's got a lot of that kind of feel to it.
Well, anyway, the other thing
that's that. Again, as time's going on, we'll move to the next one, which is I've not got a lot of time. I'm just name dropping this. This is a game that's not been out for a while, but they've decided Namco have decided to release the next one in the series, and that's Tekken 7,
the 3D fighter. Which I hate because it's a 3D fighter and I can't play them. I
used to play Tekken back when it was like Tekken 2 and 3.
I suck at them. Just that's it. I suck at them. I tried Dead or Alive 5. It was free on PlayStation Plus, and I downloaded it, and then I thought, like, Japan, you're being too Japanese. I can't play this.
Well, this back when they were new, like your Tekken 1, 2, and 3. That was back when sort of 3D fighters actually outdid the 2D ones. But no, and then they disappeared for a while, and then 2D fighters came back in. 3D ones, died a death. But yeah, that's coming back in it.
Because I know a friend of mine swears by Tekken, and I swear by Street Fighter. Another friend swears by Street Fighter, and we have arguments. And I just wave the Guilty Gear flag and say call it a day. But we don't know much about it. Okay, if you like it and it might be your thing, do check it out, definitely.
We've still got 4 games. So the next one is a horror type game. It's more of an update on a game that's already out. This is actually already out.
This is.
It's I don't know how much it differs from the original, but they've changed it so it adapts the virtual reality experience on the PS4, and that is Until Dawn: A Rush of Blood.
And that's the horror story with the butterfly effect.
I've not seen hardly any of the game. I only know it by name, the original.
The living crap of. There's a character in it called Emily.
Have you played it?
No offense, she's a bitch.
Really?
Yeah. I just didn't like her.
I've had a few people ask me. I've had a few people ask me whether I've actually checked that game out.
It's not that bad of a game. I've not played it myself, but I have watched a few streams on it. Horror games aren't my cup of tea. I can jump scare myself by just walking around in the middle of the night and smacking my toe on something.
I've not played one for a while. I used to love all the original sort of Silent Hills and Resident Evils and stuff, but it's a lot of these new ones I've not got around to touching and trying out. I'm definitely wanting to jump on one soon though.
Until Dawn, I must say, it's good. It's very good at what it does. It is insanely good at what it does.
But this is the VR experience, and just by incorporating that's probably going to change things and make it way more atmospheric and intense. Can you imagine playing that on a headset? I remember, I don't know if you ever played the Slenderman games when they first came out, but I tried it authentically as possible by turning the lights off and having headphones on, turn it up, and the scare. I find it irritating that the scares do get you because you can't prepare. You know something's coming in. You can't
physically prepare yourself for it anyway.
It does get you. It really, and it can feel uncomfortable at times.
I don't like that was the thing with things like that, is that I like horror, I don't mind, but the jump scares aggravate me. If it's genuine horror, the horror that kind of creeps up on you and it gets you all tingly.
If the whole mechanics of the game,
a jump scare is
like that. Yeah, if the whole mechanics of the game is that, then it can.
It's like Five Nights at Freddy's. Right. I don't even understand how that managed to get so successful.
You know what I preferred in terms of horror games? There's games like Haunting Ground and Clock Tower. Absolutely love that game, where you're getting chased by someone, you've got no weapons, which is this like similar, you know, where
you end up like, what happens is you're on your skiing you play, there's 3 different pairs of characters. You always play in a pair,
right?
And I'm pretty sure you always play in a pair, and you're all going skiing up a skiing lodge, and you can't, like, something happens and you can't get down and you can't ring anyone, lights go out, and get the candles, the torches, whatever. That's all I can really remember.
I suppose it depends on how often the scares are, but if you know, like Slenderman, it was like, you know, that was going to happen continuously. It was like the main focus of it.
For me, Until Dawn was that
gets a bit.
It was the creepy horror.
Annoying.
It was the creepy horror, that's why I didn't mind it. But that's Until Dawn. If you've played it and you want the VR experience, go for it. Myself, I'm probably not going to get it just because I can't really take this dumb VR thing seriously.
It's one of those things that I would love to actually record both of us playing something like that and going through it for the first time. That would be amazing.
I'd jump through the bloody roof.
It is quite cool watching reaction videos.
Oh god, I'd jump through the roof.
So that's Until Dawn, A Rush of Blood. Oh, and it's going to feature branching paths, so you can kind of change decisions, change what's going to happen, go back through the game,
there is multiple endings in it already.
Yeah.
So it does have that idea, because the butterfly effect plays a big thing. Right, what you do with one couple actually affects another couple later on down the line.
I just don't know how this game physically
changes itself.
Differs from Until... I mean, you know the Until Dawn?
Yeah.
This is A Rush of Blood. Is this a different title from the original?
I think it's just the VR.
I don't know. I thought they changed it because I wasn't unaware. I'd never seen that subtitle before, but then again, I've not really looked into the original game.
I think that's all it is. But
so moving on, 3 left.
next,
We've got a game called Robinson: The Journey.
it reminded me of the Predator film.
Yeah, it reminded me of Jurassic Park.
It
Being dumped into
both-
Jurassic Park
both
just
of them.
as the stampede's about to occur around you.
The Predator was a bit because I was watching the trailer and there's this eye and it's like, your friend's got a game here. Do you want to play? And you put your thumb up.
Yeah, that's is it a little robot? In
Yeah,
your
the
hand?
eye thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Your friend has a game for you. Do you want to play? And then all you see is these bloody stampeding dinosaurs
It's
coming after
essentially
you.
the narrator that's trying to help you through this situation, and you're kind of, I don't even know if this is beginning of the game, but it looks something like that, and you're just pretty much
I do like the
dumped
dude's voice.
into-
It's pretty awesome.
somewhere that looks like Jurassic Park behind the fence, just as a stampede of dinosaurs are about to rush past you, and he kind of asks you to do everything he says, and
Just
kind
follow
of,
me and don't do anything I don't say.
Yeah, exactly. It look again. I've not seen enough of the game to understand what
I
it's.
saw a bit of a
be
VR
like.
demo and it
It's a VR game. That's another thing.
It looks more of it's like
Everything
Crisis.
rushing towards your face.
It's like Crisis in a way to me. It's one of them games
it
that
is
was
by the
designed to
same-
look beautiful.
It's
and
by
that's
the
it.
same people who did Crisis. That's why.
Is it that or is it the Cry? I know it uses Cry engine.
Hang on. No, I might be wrong.
I know it uses
No,
Cry
it
engine.
uses the Cry engine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang
But
on. Yeah. I might. Yeah, you might be right actually.
all I know
So-
is it uses Cry engine and it looks like a game because the part I was watching is he was just holding on to these things. He was holding on to these hand things and they were propelling him up this cliff face.
Yeah.
And he was switching and it was like a zip wire that went up. And you just held on and it did that, and it was a lot of just looking around, and it was like, look at this beautiful world, it's beautiful kind of deal.
What have you seen actual gameplay for?
That was the demo, and it was called was it Robinson the Journey something?
I've not seen it. All I've seen
the
is
dinosaur world something. That's all
I've seen it a
remember.
little bit at the beginning, but it seemed more almost like it
It
can't have
was
been a CGI because
It did seem a lot like it seemed like the first
it
part.
was asking you to do things,
the first part
beginning.
with the thumbs up
Yeah.
wasn't CGI. The rest of it could have been IMHO.
Right. Okay.
In my honest opinion, yeah. But that's Robinson. I can't really comment on it until I've actually seen more.
Well, that's
so-
another VR game, so that'll be for the headset. So
They're all
there'll be a lot of that sort of in-your-face action.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
what you tend to get, and it looked like that straight away. I think that's
Yeah.
what it's going
It's
for
like,
there.
look
but
at the monsters and
graphically,
run.
it looks really.
It does look
really good.
beautiful.
The next one, there are only 2 left on the list now. Wild.
I don't know much about this at all.
This is another one of these that, in fact, the last 2 we don't have a lot to talk about on them, but I just wanted to mention it. You might want to check it out. Yeah, I think that's all it's called. Wild.
Wild. It's
It
open world
seemed-
thing.
I didn't write down who the developers were. I remember watching a video a few weeks ago. They'd made something else in the past, but I can remember. It graphically, it's not as good as the best out there, but it's a big open world game, and I think the focus is more on detail as far as little intricacies go with say animals and
Yeah.
the wildlife around. So I think there's a lot of focus on that. I don't know if it's like a hunting game, a bit like the other game, Horizon,
Yeah. But
it's
there.
again, it's another one of these huge open world games. Just,
If you're
again,
into
there's
them,
not a lot I can really talk about this.
try
but
it. But I don't really have much to talk about. I do have quite a lot to say, though, on the next game.
Oh, the next game.
Which-
And yeah, we'll because we run out of time.
Which-
we will move on to the next one.
It's a
Next one
Minecraft-esque
is
game.
it's inspired heavily from Minecraft, and the only other game that I've seen recently that's coming out that's inspired is that Dragon Quest Builders. That's
which
another one.
just looks like a rip-off of Minecraft, in my opinion. It
does.
I've not seen enough of it to say it's a rip-off, but
Yeah,
it looked heavily like a rip-off. That's all I'll say.
but this
But-
one also is clearly inspired from my Minecraft. Again, a lot of these games you only get a little trailer and you don't get a lot of gameplay or any gameplay whatsoever, so you can't really comment much beyond that. It's called Boundless.
Boundless, yeah.
And it looks very like Minecraft, but with an edge. It graphically, it's a bit of a step up. It's just, it's not
it was still
fully
a bit
restricted
blocky,
to block. Yeah, the entire world isn't restricted to pure blocks. Like Minecraft is it keeps that restriction in it, like Lego. It would just be Lego.
I think electricity is in the game as well.
So what they've done is they've enhanced it a little bit, but they've still got that cubic feel.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like if Pixar did Minecraft.
Yeah. The other thing was that they have these door mirror frames where you can look into them and you look into another world and you walk into it. Now, my issue with this is that there's too damn many of these things. Well, there was in the trailer, there was like 6 where you could go into an entirely different world, and you went into this place and there was these NPCs running around and going into different portals, and it was like a whole built up, like, it wasn't a mine as much as it was like a city built on a cliff
community
face.
An entire of all kind of,
and it looked
strange
really
beings.
Really good.
Yeah,
but I get the feel that if it's going to be like a survival Minecraft game where you start off with nothing, it's going to be an absolute pain in the ass to build up to the point where you can create something that good.
Yeah,
It doesn't, that part doesn't appeal to me. But if it's like something that's set in that kind of world, then maybe I would look into it a bit more.
I don't know what it's about at all. I don't know if it's going to be...
I watched the trailer, there was no hint at a story, no nothing. All I got from it was, at the beginning, you were stood and there was a guy in front of you and he ran through this portal and you followed him. And then you just followed him as he ran through all these different portals. I got nothing from that.
He did have a weapon on him that looked like... very like something from Minecraft. Yeah, it was some kind of like cubic hammer.
It was the banhammer.
Just made me think of crafting and...
It was the banhammer.
Yeah.
So we used the banhammer.
Yeah.
We used the ban the scrubs who are corrupting our servers.
Yeah. Again, that's one that I don't know if I'll ever
play, but yeah, that...
it doesn't look like this kind of thing I'll buy, because I've never really been a fan of Minecraft. My nephew is obsessed with Minecraft. I bought it him last Christmas, and he watches... there's a guy called Stampy Longhead who's got millions of subscribers, and he talks like, "Hello! Welcome to this week's episode of..." Well, not weeks, he does them every single day, but he's a happy choppy, and my nephew he's obsessed. He watches videos all the time, and I've tried playing some of the I've tried playing survival. You can get nowhere with him.
The thing with Minecraft is...
he tries killing you every 5 seconds. You just, even if you're trying to create something or whatever,
he'll just turn around like, stop.
Yeah,
and smile at you.
But it's never clicked with me.
I bought it and I've played it a bit, and my issue with Minecraft was just that what you see and what a YouTuber sees is like, it's not what you get. That was the issue with Minecraft, is that
it's a lot slower.
To be honest, it's a game I don't mind watching a let's play of, because I know for a fact I'm not going to get the same enjoyment that the person who is playing it will.
Yeah.
Because for me, I loved the designing and building part. It's like, right, I'll go cut down a tree and I can start building a house, and damn it, this house is going to take me years to finish.
I like it, but for me, and we've talked about this before, it's because I'm a creative person, and I use programs for making music, like professional programs for making music, and that's my outlet I like crafting music.
That's your
so I'll make my
creativity
electronic
outlet.
music. I'm into art. I use the likes of Photoshop, and so those I don't feel like if I want to make a website, I'll use a program to make a website. I don't feel like I need to start learning something like Minecraft. I don't feel like it's giving me enough out of it. Whereas for some people, obviously, the ones that are creating the channels is Stampy Long. He's making tons of money out. And it's not about making money. Like for kids, it's about adapting and learning the world, and learning how to function. And so other people, it's something to do. A lot, for people who don't have a lot of opportunity to create things, and they don't really want to pick up a pen and draw, and that, it's something
they can do in downtime.
And with that's kind of like tailored to make it quite easy to pick up and get into, whereas I already have a lot going on in other areas, so that
because I can understand, because I'm like the same with art. Definitely, I'm a fan of art. I'm a guitarist. That's another one of my outlets, and so That's kind of why games like Minecraft and Boundless and stuff like that don't really appeal. But if Boundless sounds up your street, definitely go check it out.
So, of all these games, like, which ones, we've gone through the list now, which ones kind of you think you can see yourself definitely getting?
I've already told myself I'm buying Horizon Zero Dawn. There's no issue.
Yeah,
like I'm buying that. That's it.
I think I'm definitely going to go for
Detroit as well. That's another one. I'm looking like I'm very like it looks so stunning. It looks so immersive. It looks like I can lose myself in the storyline. That I will buy it.
Yeah, I want to play Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls before I get that. And no doubt, I can see myself definitely playing that at some point. But for me, No Man's Sky is one that I think I'm definitely going to get, just because I think it's because I've been following it for quite a while, and it's good price wise for the launch time. But what I want to do is I want to get a launch title game, really. I want to get one that's so it's kind of relevant when it comes out, and I want to bring it up on the show, maybe do some future
yeah. Other than that, Street Fighter 5's a must buy for myself as a fighting game fan.
Oh, yeah,
as a guy who has to go and buy another stick if I want to participate at tournaments, because I bought a Hori PV4, which has a turbo button, which means it's not tournament legal on. So I gotta buy another stick. So hopefully, if we get another stick, you may even see the odd episode of Hush and Levi don't play Street Fighter 5, because if we take that online, we're gonna get absolutely hammered.
ban hammered.
Literally. So yeah, this has been like what episode 5, and
yeah, we still need to work on shortening these episodes down. But to be fair, there was quite a lot of games, like
13 games to talk about today. And if you liked it, drop us a comment. Tell us, like, what are you gonna buy? Are you gonna buy any off that list? What do you even think of that list? You tell us what you want to see us do, and maybe if we can, just maybe we'll do it. Probably. But yeah, the other stuff is, obviously, if you've liked the show, like it, please, subscribe, share it with your friends if you really want to. We would love you to share it around and pass it around. Just tell everyone.
Yeah,
Hush and Levi are here to stay.
If you want to leave a comment, please do so, just like Sebastian did.
Thank you, Sebastian. Definitely. Other than that,
hopefully we'll be back very soon.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter, and that's Twitter.
One more thing as well.
Hammercast.
We've been going through the Romock Top 100 Games of All Time, where we talk about 5 per episode. The last couple of episodes, including this, we've dropped it just because
the length.
Yeah, the length of the shows have been quite intense, just because we've been going through a lot of games in each one.
So
but we're going to continue doing that. That doesn't matter. That's just an extra thing to talk about. It's just an extra thing in there. There's a few little things we want to add there. We want to play a few games actually.
That would be a pretty awesome thing to do. Is that if I can get my hands on
the game, that's one thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Other
than that though, definitely it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah. So until then, we'll see you next time on the Banhammer Podcasts.
See you later, ladies and gentlemen. Night.
Mixed by James Bubble Family.